Friday the 13th provides all the cliches we die for looking back at these 80s slashers. It's like a grocery store. It offers a variety of goodies. Random sex as filler for no purpose, unneeded nudity yet appropriate, drinking and parties, a boring love interest that serves as an attempt to create a plot around a slaughterhouse. Down this aisle we have the fresh meat selection with an assortment of cuts. Continue, and we have what the hell just happened moments, and for dessert, an ending that could only conclude the assurance of a sequel. With that provided, let's talk some New Blood. First of all, I have a complaint. Once again, we have to go through a recap of everything that happened prior to this movie. Now, I don't know why they keep doing that. I mean, in Friday the 13th Part 6, they kind of did like a little thing, but they got right into the movie. There was nothing really needed. And then all of a sudden, we get, to the New Blood. And I'm looking at this, and I agree with fans that the New Blood would have been better suited, for, Part 5 or something like that. And it just doesn't seem settling, and maybe Part 6 is suiting, I suppose. But, might have been better suited for Part 5. That's just my take on it. Although, I'll give it this, even though the title isn't really all that appropriate. The opening scene where all the light comes through the Jason mask, that's pretty epic. Anyways, I agree with the fans on the fact that the title, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, what is the New Blood? What's the New Blood? A new bloodline, a new story. So, but I'll grant them this. The people there have not been killed before, presumably because they're alive. So, that's new blood being spilled. That's the best I got. I really don't understand the title all that much. First thing that I want to discuss about Jason is the location, and this makes my blood boil, and if you know the answer, then please help me out here. So, as far as Jason goes in his location, Jason in Part 6, he's at the bottom of Crystal Lake, right? The place that he's supposed to return to, if I'm correct, and he's supposed to be rested. Well, he rested there, but apparently not, so whatever. Then Tina, as a child, sinks her dad there years before. And you can't say it was there in the future because the cars are all the same and all that. And then he rises in front of her cabin. So he rises in front of her cabin, but really, first of all, look at the background in Part 6 and then look at where it takes place. Like, was this built up? And the reason I mentioned the cars is because you can't say that this was drastically in the past and at the same time it was in the present, because the cars are the same. It just doesn't make sense, and it really pisses me off. So how the hell did he get there? Did he drift or something like that? That's the exact same spot. It's the same spot. It has the same crystal blood or Camp Crystal blood or whatever at the bottom of the. It's right in front. It's supposed to be right in front of that friggin' wonderful day camp or summer camp or whatever the fuck it is, and it's not her place. Anyways, and then it gets crazy later on. But I don't know. Help me out here. Am I wrong? Am I missing something? First of all, the plot is off the wall and it's fine, whatever. But we have Jason, right? And Jason is supernatural, and that's cool. And that always applied. I mean, he was beat up a little bit earlier in the series and could be taken down. But now he is what he is, whatever that might be. Some sort of just monstrosity of a character or whatever. Anyways, whatever. But then they bring in this girl who's all of a sudden telekinetic. Like, where in the world did that come from? That never applied in the series at all, or after, besides like some cyborg lady. But that's not like supernatural. It's just futuristic. And now she's telekinetic. So now what do we have? We essentially have Jean Grey from the X-Men up against Jason. Kind of a funny part and whatever. It's actually an annoying part for me because, like, Tina at the beginning, she's in that boat, right? And she's mad at her dad for, like, smacking around her mom, and whatever. It's upsetting for a child, justifiably so. But then she runs out to the dock, right? And she gets in that boat, you know this part. And she's mad at her dad, right? So she's like, well, I'll fucking murder him. Anyways, but like, she starts shaking the damn thing, right? The dock. And then afterwards she's like, no, no, daddy, no. Well then stop shaking the fucking thing. You're the one with the powers. Are you not? Just stop. Or maybe it's something, maybe she needs Xavier to like guide her with her power. I really got the comic book stuff in mind. But like, I mean, honestly, like, you're the one doing it. Stop. It's absolutely unbelievable. She also looks like the girl from Poltergeist. I just thought I'd throw that in there. She kind of does. Don't you agree with the blonde hair and the same kind of bang situation? And but whatever. And another funny part is like they're driving up to the cabin and they're like, what's the doctor's name? Dr. Cruz, I think his name is, but he's just a prick through the whole thing. But the mother's driving up and she's like, well, I hope we didn't keep him waiting. What else is he doing? He's up at a cabin just hanging out, like having to, well, he's not smoking, but whatever, you know. He's not busy. Don't worry about keeping him waiting. It's really not that big of a deal. Of course, we got the great setup. We got the kids next door. Nothing but cannon fodder for Jason, setting up for a party. So, you know, you obviously see that part coming. I love that. I love that about the Friday films. It's just like, check out, you know, Stacy. Check out, you know, Billy, and check out the. And then Todd, Frank, Mike, dead. Like he just, it's the same thing every time. And then, but what bugs me, and I'm kind of skipping ahead here, is, you know, Tina makes, I actually like Tina. She's cute, she's funny, she's kind of innocent, she's just stressed to the gills, needs a vacation to Cuba, something like that. But she escapes, good stuff, don't mind her escaping, but that goddamn douche Nick, you know, like he's like someone from like 21 Jump Street, or like, I don't know, or like Catwalk or something, one of those moral dudes. I just hate the guy. I just hate him. Not like the other, or not the other because his name's Nick, but Rick. Both of them rhyme with prick. He makes sense on the end. I don't know. I wanted to see that guy go down. At the end, is Rick alright? Who cares? Like, well, what help was he to you? You've known the guy for like 18 hours. He sorted through your underwear and then was like kind of nice to you. And then at one point he's, you know, trying to kid around about the fact that she's nuts. He's like, I see, you know, pink elephants or whatever. You remember that scene? And she's like, ha ha ha. Oh, I hope this doesn't turn out to be a dream. You've known each other for like what? Like not even quite 24 hours. I hope this isn't a dream. Fuck, man, that's speed dating. That's like faster than Plenty of Fish shit moves. Or like, what are those other ones, like Tumblr and anyways, I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to social media. But anyways, one of those type of things where people just hook up. Like that's almost like what it was like. It's just. First, let's start with Nick or whatever, the dude with the awesome shorts. He's just I'm such a nice guy with awesome morals, and like I'm amazing and have neat hair with my cool jean jacket. I'm always out for the good girl that I've known for like 18 hours. Fuck this douche. Now, I just get annoyed with this guy, but he's in the way of Jean Grey the whole frickin' movie. He acts like some sort of help. She crushed Jason's mask off his face. I repeat, she crushed Jason's mask off his frickin' face. She could squash your pretend I'm not conceited twit's head right off your shoulders. Now, I know I'm raging out a little bit and I'll slow down, but then there's also Melissa. Oh, man. And then Melissa, she messes with my man Eddie. I mean...
2,000 years into the future, the entire galaxy is populated by highly evolved protozoa. Good, huh?
How could you not love that guy? He's awesome, and she just kind of plays with his heart. And she's got it out for Tina, you know, to nail Nick for God knows what reason. But Nick shuts her down pretty good here.
Besides, all is fair in love and war.
Melissa, I don't even like you.
Then she goes and she's like snooping, right? She hides behind this tree to gather information that's really sensitive. It's about her mental state and like some pretty serious stuff. And then she uses that to like manipulate and embarrass her at a party. Like Melissa's the most cold-hearted freaking bitch on the planet. And like, I don't even know why she's there. She has no real friends and everyone's intimidated by her. I don't know why. Everybody should have been laughing in her face as a joke. She's so conceited and self-absorbed. But, you know, besides that, and the fact that I want to like rip her face off, put it in a blender, kick her in the The mom, though, she's alright. I mean, she has Tina's best interest in mind. I really don't mind her, although her hair in the car kind of looks like Wolverine. Really got X-Men on the mind in comics. I don't know why. You know, she means well and she's annoying, but you know, it's okay. She's the one that finds out the doc is completely full of shit and she freaks. So I mean, she's definitely on the side of Tina trying to get well and all that, and that's awesome. I mean, personally, I probably would distance myself from Jean Grey because she might be dangerous. I mean, look what she did to your husband, man. So I wouldn't be asking her to do the dishes or chores or any kind of stress whatsoever, because she could just do that, like, you know, weird thing with her eyes, and you know, all of a sudden your VCR is flying across the room and it creates a mess, and you know, hopefully she doesn't hit you. She kind of does, like, you know, the Darth Vader thing, and with the TV part, it's like Darth Vader when he's like, with Luke he's like against Luke Skywalker, he's like shooting that shit off. Anyways, not to go into the Star Wars thing. But I love the fact that she called it the doc, because he's just an absolute ass. But the doc, let me rip into this guy just a bit here. The doctor is the most self-serving asshole ever. He's like the bad version of Professor Xavier. He's just trying to get her to do stuff on camera to win maybe some sort of grant money or whatever at her expense. This guy himself does a great job of allowing you to hate him, that's for sure. More than just his role in the plot, there's something about the actor and his look that just wants you to kick him in the nuts for no reason. If you were walking to a coffee shop in the morning, it would be this guy in front of you requesting foam or froth or whatever in his coffee at some specified temperature. Fuck this guy. His kill was fine because he's out of the picture, but I can't help but feel a little unsatisfied that he was not humiliated in some more drastic way before his demise. I mean, he was called a coward, but he took years off of Tina's life, and he got some weed whacker on steroids in the guts, so fine. But I want more for Tina. That's either sweet of me or absolutely insane, I'm not sure. Tina's a likable character. I mean, I find her cute. She's definitely got like the 80s hair thing going on and stuff like that. But she looks like a fun girl to date. I mean, imagine going to dinner with her. She could like pass the salt without using her hands. If you brought her to a party or something like that, she could do like party tricks and maybe she could do like balloon figures with her head. And sorry, I've had a lot of Poppy Burton. Who cares? Let's just roll on. And she could do like party tricks and stuff like that. And then in the bedroom, I wonder what would happen there. Could she like give you like a And just to fill up, I guess, another little character profile here, the girl that's not attractive, I forget her name. Let's just call her Mary for some reason. So, like, you know, she likes Eddie, or no, she doesn't like Eddie, or maybe she does, or who cares? And so she's trying to doll herself up. So let's just take a little before and after picture here, and you know, Mary or whatever your name is, I'm not really sure, but who are you kidding? It really didn't matter. Sorry to pick on you, but that's just not working. Okay, it's just. But you know, A for effort. That's always good. So, anyways, but the rest of the characters, honestly, just fodder. You don't know anything about them. You learn very little. In this particular movie, as compared to you know, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and stuff like this, at least they had some sort of character development, or you knew kind of the characters surrounding the situation, so you felt a little bit more for them. Like, what's his name in the wheelchair, and the girl that liked him. That was what, part 2? And that was really cute and stuff, so you kind of felt for them, and you're like, oh, don't die. They died, but it's Friday, so whatever, I guess, whatever. But anyways, and then again, you know, the Crystal Lake interdimensional timeline, whatever, where they can somehow merge different timelines in the same location with some physical dimensional property, something. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Because I don't know what I'm talking about right now, because the location doesn't make sense, but that's fine. That being said, you know, the cliche of Jason being unstoppable after part 6 continues. So let's take a look a little bit at Jason just for a second here. First of all, Jason takes the biggest beating in the series thus far. maybe Jason X, but I mean, this is like slapstick. It's hilarious, one beat up after another. He looks badass though. The spine when he comes out of the water, that's absolutely epic looking. When his mask gets ripped off his face, he looks like some sort of terrifying mummy like this, or maybe a zombie pirate. One eye a little darker than the other. That's kind of a pirate thing, right? Just work with me here. But as usual, I have some general observations and things that I kind of thought were a little bit funny about Part 7, I suppose you could say. So here are my general thoughts. One thing that I thought was funny was, again, Tina as a child. Look at her eyes as she's about to like take down her dad. That is terrifying. That is a kid that is so psychotically imbalanced that I can't even put words to it. It's fucked up, but it's also really eerie. Like, I mean, it's like she's taken like 9 Adderall pills or like speed or something like that. She's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna get dad. I'm gonna get to know dad. Anyways, let's not dwell on that. And then Tina's rude to Nick. Now this is kind of justifiable, but whatever. But you know, she drops her clothes. Nick comes running over like the good Samaritan douchebag that he is. Yeah, I know it's a nice thing to do, but whatever. But then she got kind of, you know, rude with him. Keep in mind, he picked up her underwear and he's like looking at her underwear like, oh, look at this, isn't this embarrassing? Yeah, but you held on to it for an awful long time and you kind of got a good feel of the material. So you got a little of the kinkiness in you or something like that for such a moral dude. Yeah, granted, maybe it's an accident, maybe he thought it would be a joke, I'm not really sure. But anyways, he's drooling over her the whole movie. And his background story is hilarious too. He's like, when he's talking to her just before that, he's like, well, a bit about me. Didn't like dad, went to night school, now I'm here. Oh, really? Well, that's a complete fill of the bio so you know what? I'm bought in. You're now my new boyfriend. How that happened, all of a sudden they're a couple. But that's a good enough. It's like me going to Starbucks and being like, hi, how are you? Would you like to go on a date sometime? Sure. I have a cousin. She's throwing a party. I'm not really friends with them. How are you doing? And then all of a sudden it takes off and I don't. So, I mean, their attempt at, a relationship building thing. So that's why I call it like that filler love interest that's completely boring. That has nothing to do with the film whatsoever, other than just like legitimizing some other part of the plot. To give, you know, it's basically just putting together some sort of connection, because when these two survive, and if you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry for spoiling it, but too bad, this thing's like, 20 years old. But I guess the whole point of that was just to get them to like bond in some way, so when they both make it out of the film, you're like, oh good, the two protagonists made it out. Sorta. I kind of wish Nick did, but who cares, whatever. Tina made it out, good enough, good for her. Well done, well done. Alright, and listen to this.
Michael, he probably got pulled over for drunk driving and spent the night in jail.
Okay, so this is like just something Mike does. He just goes out and gets DUIs, like, oh, Mikey, he's out there getting one of those DUIs again. I know with me, it's always those hit and runs, but Mike with those DUIs, oh, that rascal. Really? This is how you know Mike? This is like a common thing for him? And he still has a license? Like, they said that so nonchalantly. They're like, well, Mike, you probably got nailed with a DUI. Really? I know it's kind of like the 80s and stuff, but it still wasn't kind of cool back then, like the 70s. But, oh, that Mike and his DUIs. Anybody else kind of think that's kind of a weird thing to say? As far as the kills go, there are a whole bunch. I'll chat briefly about this in a moment, but there's one that I'd like to address. I've given top 10s before, but this kill here with Melissa, the bad girl, is just priceless. She takes an axe to the head and then she's heaved over the TV like a garbage bag. There's something about how it all went down, and I can't explain it, but when I was typing this, I was just laughing my ass off thinking about it. It's the new #1 kill for me, honestly, and I don't hear much about it. It's just priceless. So, I mean, there's a few funny things in the movie, like there's this one part where she's beating up Jason, but she picks up a plant, and in the plant pot, there's a head, and she throws both at Jason. That is hilarious. A head, I don't know why it's hilarious to me that there's a head in a flower pot, or plant pot or whatever. I'm not a green thumb, but the plant. Anyways, and she throws it at Jason. That is freaking hilarious. But nonetheless, this is all part of the plot so far, and now we're used to the fact that she can move shit around with her mind and all that. So everything's rolling along until the end. Like, what the hell happened? She just summoned her dad from, like, the lake, and what a crazy shift in tone. And then, you know, so she brings Jason down. Now, I don't know why Jason is all of a sudden done in the movie, because the dad pulled him down. I mean, the chain and the rock didn't do shit. But her dad, looking pretty good, by the way, because I guess he's been down there for like 17 years. Her dad just comes out of the water, out of nowhere. And then they're in an ambulance, and the movie ends. What a shift in tone. What in the hell just happened? And that's how they ended, that's how they wrapped the movie. That's it. Dad comes back, gets Jason in the ambulance, credits. My final thoughts are, it's a good movie. For staying true to the spirit of the series, I can credit the bizarre way in which it takes place in the lake, which for some reason is the same spot as part 6 and what, anyways, I don't know. And the last before we head to the city, hell, and then space. And yes, I'm aware part 9 had parts in the woods, but that movie exists for no reason. The movie on its own is fine, the acting is laughing, but the stuff we love about J-Dog is there, and all the shits and gigs. The side stories, telekinesis, and all that leaves the movie with more afterthoughts to an addition to the series, rather than something nostalgic to look back on. In contrast to all the movies, this brings the supernatural to someone that's not taking the role of villain. If there's one thing that the big three have in common in terms of slashers is that they all have a character like this. Jamie in Halloween and her psychic connection to Mike, Kristen and her dream stuff from Elm Street, and now we have Jean Grey in Friday 7. It's a fun movie, but not great. Who cares though? It's a slasher and you're along for the ride, with a great performance by Kane Hodder. What else would you expect? Well, that's all I got for Friday 7, so let's go for a boat ride next time and have a little fun. Later guys, take care.